All right, hello everyone, and welcome to Exploring 3D Experience Works Live. My name is Gian Calisi, and just gonna walk you through some of the basics before we get started. Very excited to be here, giving our 11th session of this bi-weekly webinar series. So for those of you who haven't joined before, let's start at the beginning. So what is 3D Experience Works, and more importantly, why should you care? Well, let's actually start with SolidWorks to answer that question. So SolidWorks, I'm sure many of us on the call right now are users of SolidWorks or some way connected. And SolidWorks is a little bit of an older product now. You know, we started back in 1995 with this outdated logo. Look at this archaic interface. And this is back when you actually installed it on a disk drive and it came with all your manuals and everything. We've come quite a long way since 1995. In fact, back in that year, John and I were just a couple of wee little babies. Fast forwarding to now, 25 years later, we have our modern SolidWorks, a polished up, finely tuned product that is really something of an industry standard, at least in mechanical engineering, but it's found its footprint in so many other markets. So it's a great tool, but maybe it doesn't actually get everything. I mean, you can do so much with it, but when you actually take a look at the design process, it doesn't take care of every single step here in designing or in product development, whatever you want to call it. It really plays into just some of these steps. So developing solutions, building prototypes, and improving designs, it plays a key role in, potentially in testing and evaluating prototypes as well, if you use SOLIDWORKS simulation. But for anything the SOLIDWORKS simulation can't handle, as it does have its limits, Simulia will actually take over and is essentially limitless in terms of what it can simulate and what you can do to evaluate your designs with it. And pairing that with NetVibes for defining those problems and identifying some of those key opportunities where innovation can really make an impact in the market is just so crucial. And NetVibes provides some solutions for defining those opportunities and seeing those trends where they exist to find where innovation is needed. And then, of course, product development as a whole is project-based. So for the most part, so Enovia finds its way into the equation by becoming a part of every single step here in defining each of those steps in part of the project. So really just encompassing everything here with Enovia. And then, of course, when your product is complete or ready to go to market for the first time or for the 30th time, Delmia is there to help manage the manufacturing side of things. So all of this together is what really just makes up just some of what is 3D Experience. So 3D Experience here, you'll see actually has a lot more brands that we didn't even just talk about now. But just want to express how broad and how much functionality really exists in all of the Dassault System brands, all put together in this 3D experience. But I'm sure you're probably wondering, so now I get this is 3D Experience. It has all these other Dassault System brands, but why is the word works there? What does that mean? Well, 3D Experience Works is really just a subset of some of those tools that are specifically designed to help businesses with product development and really just be a starting point for them to get into 3D Experience and use the tools there for product development. So you can see your SolidWorks for 3D modeling, Enovia for project management, product data management, and lifecycle management, Simulia for your simulation, Delmia for your manufacturing, and NetVibes for that social and business analytics. So today we have myself, Gian, as always, John, and our special guest, Lisa, joining us today for a workflow that's going to be a little bit different, where Lisa is going to be playing our engineering manager, and John is actually going to be playing our mechanical design engineer. And Lisa is going to be probably using most of the Enovia tools on the 3D Experience platform as she is the manager and needs those management tools, whereas John will be using the SolidWorks brand tools for mechanical design, as well as some of the Enovia suite to be able to keep up with Lisa and help her be able to manage everything from her one station. So with that, I think I'm just about ready to hand it off to Lisa and John. John, would you like to show us what you've been working on so far for this next product?
Absolutely. I'll go ahead and show my screen, and I'll also skip the introductions on this one. So Gian kind of took care of that for us. So I'll hide my webcam as well. Just want to say hi to everybody. All right, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Excellent. So this is a caulking gun that my team and I we've just been working really hard to get this done. And it's our job today to present it to Lisa, who's gonna give it the thumbs up or the thumbs down and tell us if we need to make any changes. So to do this, we're going to use a variety of different communication tools as well as some project management tools. And as we could see, we're going to have to send it to her. Let's just start by going to the Lifecycle tab and actually going ahead and changing the maturity state. What this is basically, so nobody else gets the wrong idea here and starts making changes to a part that I'm sending in to Lisa to take a look at. So I can change this state in this case to frozen, so that way everybody knows, hands off, don't touch it because Lisa's taking a look at it. So I'll go ahead and do that. And now we can go ahead and take a look at the medium with which we are going to send this model. So this is collaborative tasks. If you're not a project manager, you wouldn't have the project management tools and all the dashboards and all the tasks that you've assigned. It makes it really easy with collaborative tasks, as myself, just a mechanical designer, to only be focused on the tasks that I need to worry about. In this particular case, I only have 5 of them right here, one of which being in progress. So we can go ahead and edit this task. And we could see that there's a variety of different things that I could change, such as the title, the description, priority state, if this is super important or not as important, some start and end dates. And of course, we have our assignees. Lisa was nice enough to attach some caulking gun specifications, so that way I knew exactly what I needed to do to get the project done and where I'm going to attach a deliverable. So let's go ahead back into XDesign, and I'll click on this history button right here. And when I do that, I get this caulking gun final assembly that I can just drag and drop into the deliverable section, and I can press save and click the green checkbox, and she'll be instantly notified that we have now created this caulking gun and the design work's done. So my work here is done, Lisa. I think it's your turn to take a look at it and let us know what you think.
Great. So I am going to show my screen. Everybody see my screen okay?
Yes, we can.
Now, as John said, it was an instantaneous change, so unfortunately you couldn't see, but just a second ago, before John completed that task, this was actually showing the 5 days that we anticipated it taking to create those mechanical designs, and it was blue with some dark blue because it was currently in progress. So again, he was looking at the task from a standpoint of what is assigned to him. So from this larger, this project and other projects he's on, he has his Kanban type board where he can see the, the to-dos, the in progress, and has that satisfying check mark to say if something is done. From a project management standpoint, engineering management, I get to see the project in total and all of the tasks. Just a couple things. You may have seen the project planning app before. This is part of our project planner role. And basically what I did here to start this project off, I actually used another project to start it. So you don't have to build things from all the tasks and the milestones from scratch. You can actually create projects from an existing project. So we had a project previously that ran really well with John and Gian. So I copied that project. So it just happens to be a top-level project made up of sub-projects. So again, I can look at this several different ways, but I want to go into that task. I could go to, to the task tab. I can go to the sub-project if I wanted to, but here I can go directly to create mechanical designs. I can see that the maturity state is done and that he's actually attached that caulking gun final assembly. So again, multiple ways to view this. We're just trying to give you kind of a tour of the 3DEXPERIENCE platform so you can see everything there. So what I'm going to do is just make sure my design review tab, and that's what I want to make sure. I'm going to go and get it out of there for now. So what I want to show you very quickly is that I have a separate tab for doing design reviews, right? So this is my setup, my tabs, my desktop. So when I'm in that project management, I can grab that final assembly and I can drag and drop it right into that tab. So that's important, that a lot of stuff that are standard behavior across the whole interface for the 3DEXPERIENCE platform. One is the ability to drag and drop, right? And as you saw, you can even move between tabs if you want to. So I'm going to make this app a little bigger. So this is an app we haven't seen before. It's called 3D Markup. So we've seen, I'm sure if you've been attending any of John and Gian's sessions, that we have a viewer, and there's several viewers inside the platform, but this is not actually, it's more than just a viewer. It's an ability to create new data called a markup, right? So again, there's a view tab, there's tools. I'm going to go to the markup tab and create a mark. So as I look at this, I realize that I think we have an issue in that we've come up with there's a new industry standard that requires a different size when it comes to the end cap here, or the front cap, and we need to change that opening. So I'm going to use the markup tool so that he can be very clear on what we have to do. I think in the past session we used more of an informal type markup, which was using the swim communities, but this is going to be something official. What we'll see in later sessions is that this markup can be the kind of the documentation for a change. In this case, I'm going to just attach it to the task, but it could be attached to something like an issue or a change action, some other of the apps available with the ENOVIAworks for doing official change management. So we're going to make one of these markup items. It's going to automatically name it for me. If I could change that if I wanted to, I can add a description, say, specifications changed with market typing, not, okay. And I'll say create markup. So the markup tool it's pretty powerful. What it does is it's going to create several slides. So you can imagine this is a pretty simple assembly. No offense, John. It's a pretty simple assembly, but if you had a very complex assembly, ouch. If you wanted to take several, if you had to take close-up views, if you need to do cross sections, you could compare it to another item that you have and show some differences. In my case, what I want to do is just create, so I just wanted to show real quick, there can be multiple slides. So here's just the general view. Here I want to actually make an edit. So I said compare, cross sections, things like that. I'm going to just create a dimension of the circle here, right? Say that looks good. So it behaves like a regular dimension, and then I want to add some text. And that text I'm going to grab here. And so some of the automated behavior I want to show you is that as the engineering manager, I don't need to know what the name of that item is. I'm actually in the top level assembly, but because I picked that call out to go to that item, it actually filled in some of the text for me, which is nice, right? So I could overwrite it if I want to, or I can add to it. Needs change to 24, right? So if I think, and again, you can do as much detail as you want to mark this up and give him, all the detail that he needs to make this change. So I'm going to assume that this is good enough for now, that he knows it's currently 18 and it needs to go to 24, and it's because the tubes in the caulking gun industry have changed. So this is, we've seen the save command before when John was doing that with his design. So this is an item type, right? The markup is an item, so I've saved that markup. And I want to go here and close that down. So I wanted to show you that ultimately it is a type of item. It can be added to a bookmark, and more importantly, what I want to do is add it to this task. Not only that, but I want to change that task back to not done, but in progress. So a couple things to let John know what's going on. I'm going to change the task back to in progress so he knows he still has to work on that. And then I am going to go over here and actually add another attachment, which is the markup itself. So I'm going to search for my markup that I just made. I'm going to use the regular search that we use across the platform. And I want to make sure I do an overall search, not in the current desktop. And I want to search within my last stuff I made within my recent content, okay? Not across the board. So again, you can use 6W tags. In this case, because the demos kind of move fast, I want to get something that's within the last 5 minutes. So I'm going to grab this guy, drag and drop it, and put it right in here to the attachment. So Again, when it comes to these tasks, whether you make tasks manually or they're part of a project, the attachments are the inputs, right? So I want him to use that as a reference to make this change, right? And not only that, so that I know we've probably seen a lot of collaboration. If you've been following John and Gian's series here, what I want to show you is there's also collaboration available on the tasks themselves. So I'm going to actually call out John and say, please see markup for details on a change we need to make. And save that and send that comment off and close that down. So again, before we run off to John, I just want to show you, very dynamic. It is project execution, so things updated automatically. The reason that went back out to 5 days is because that task was estimated to take 5 days to create the mechanical designs. But of course, through the magic of the SolidWorks apps that we have in the platform, it's taken him a lot less time than that, right? So efficient, aren't you, John? So I'm going to pass it back over to you. I've given you all the detail that you need to be able to bring this home and make a change to that caulking gun.
All right, yeah. I mean, let's make this change. I mean, as I can see right away, started automatically, was in progress, and I was able to watch it real time. I know Lisa was sharing her screen at the same time, but if you weren't just, staring at your tasks, because that's not something you do, no worries. We have a notification, and you can then click on the notification. But seems how I already have it open. Let's just go in, edit this, and see what Lisa had to say. So to start, it says, please see markup for details on a change we need to make. Well, let's go back in. And I see the markup right here. And to open it, I don't have to go fishing around for anything. I can just right click on it, and it automatically knows what app I want to open this with. So once it loads, we can see that, oh, front cap needs change to 24 millimeters. All right, well, that'll be easy enough. So let's go ahead.
Slave driver. That's what I am.
Yeah, it'll be easy enough to do this one. You gotta maybe give me more of a challenge. So what I can actually do in this case, I could search for my model and open that back up in XDesign. But in this case, what I want to do, I can just drag right from the deliverables tab into XDesign and open up that model. Now, we talked about how this was in the frozen state. Let's go ahead and bring this back to in work now. So to do this, we do this the same exact way that we previously did, change our maturity state in this particular case. And we'll go ahead and bring this back to in work. Our options are presented in the drop-down menu. So right now it's in frozen, so I have the option to change it to in work or released. I'll press OK in this case. And we're all set there. So maturity state, all set. I'm ready to get started and make the change. Obviously, this is the part we need to make the change. So let's go ahead and just edit the component right in context of the assembly. It highlights the component for me, and I can just now choose the feature that's responsible for this cut right here. Okay, so it looks like I defined it by a radius. And it was 18 millimeters, obviously, because 18 divided by 2 is 9. Well, if I didn't know, and I didn't know what 24 divided by 2 was.
Because it's a long weekend.
Because it's a long weekend. It's Monday morning. Maybe I just don't know what 24 divided by 2 is. Hard work in college really paying off. Yeah. But luckily, just like anything, 24 divided by 2 can be done right in the toolbar itself.
Yeah, John and Gian don't remember why that was exciting, but when SolidWorks first came out, being able to do the math right on the input was a big deal. So we still have it. Yay!
We were babies until that came along.
That's right. That used to be a standard part of the SolidWorks demos back in 95, 96. Look at this. You can type it right in here. Don't have to open up a calculator.
SolidWorks has been doing long division since before Gian and I were born, so. All right, so now that we've made this change, we can jump back out to the top of the assembly here. And luckily for us, it's pretty simple from here on out because we actually don't need to reattach a deliverable because that deliverable is going to update automatically for us. So in this particular case, all I need to do is just save my component. And we can go ahead back into the lifecycle tab and change that maturity state back to frozen because we're about to send it back to Lisa. And now let's go back into our tasks. And instead of just clicking the green checkbox, which would do all the same that dragging it into done would do, it's just much more satisfying to come in and actually just drag from in progress to done. And now I'm going to hand it back to Lisa again to make sure that those changes are up to her standards. So Lisa,
sure you don't want to make a comment? Do you want to send me a smart comment or anything?
I could, yeah. I'll make a comment saying that I think this was too easy, and maybe you should step it up next time.
That's right. All right, actually, you know what? I'm showing my screen now. If you made a comment, it would pop up as a notification for me. So that would be kind of cool, actually, to show it live.
Yeah, I just sent a comment.
Cool.
And now it's done.
There
All
it is.
right.
So again, I see John's comment, and again, we do use this internally to run our internal projects. So there's lots of times that we have comments back and forth about a task. Sometimes it's not just a straightforward. Sometimes people have questions. I've actually commented on one before and said, "Why is this assigned to me?" So sometimes they're like, "Oh, that's right." So I was kind of like, "I can't do this." So anyway, but yeah, so the comments do get notified. So as the project manager, I get notified of that because he called it out to me. If you're an assignee on a task, you see those comments as well. So here again, I got the notification, but about the task being completed, and I also see that comment being called out as well. So same as before. It depends on how you want to look at that. If I want to verify that change has been made, there's a couple ways for me to do that. And I want to go over here to our task. And again, you can see where it closed down. Instead of being the projected 5 days, it's actually just the 1 day. And one thing, I get a little time, right? I just wanted to show one thing. I know we've talked about the life cycle a lot. One thing to understand is that there's a life cycle on the components, right? So the assembly itself, John has been changing it. She changed it from in work to frozen, back to in work, and then it can also be changed to release. So there's life cycle on those types of objects. When you're looking at the tasks and they're going between these different, that Kanban type board, that actually is the status, the maturity status of a task, right? And even the project itself has a maturity status, which is what I wanted to share. You know what I mean? So if you had a project that we hadn't started yet, it would be in the to-do. This one's in progress, so that's why it's in progress. But when a project is actually completed, you can put it in the done column, right? So once everything's been wrapped up and all the tasks are done, you can make it done. And then what will happen is over time, it won't show up in your project list anymore because the completed projects, you can set a certain time frame. I don't want to see things that are in the last 90 days. I only want to see in the last 10 or 30 days, something like that. So I just wanted to kind of cover that because an important component of being able to manage items, objects, and processes has got to do with life cycle. And so even though it presents itself different ways in tasks and the design elements themselves, it's all part of the same concept of everything has a status, right? So I'm going to go back into our Create Mechanical Designs task. And just double click and open that, and maybe not. Right, edit that guy. And I want to grab that same deliverable and bring it over into my design review, but I want to make sure my design review is empty first. So let me go to view and get rid of the old one with the old markup in it, and grab it and drag it over there into my my design review tab. And again, I could have opened it just with a regular viewer as well, but I just want to verify, yes, that definitely looks like it's 24 millimeters. And I could verify it with the dimension if I want to make sure I really did it right. But I'm going to say I trust that John has done that correctly, and I don't need to actually measure it at this point. So again, just bringing things back home, and I'll hand it over to Gian to wrap up. But using things like markups, documents, the design elements themselves, and bringing in process, life cycle, tasks, projects where we can see dependencies and how our project is progressing is all part of more than just, as Gian pointed out, more than just design tools. It's also about being able to bring real product life cycle management and product data management tools to our SOLIDWORKS users.
Right, you are, Lisa. And thank you both for this amazing presentation showing us some of the project management capabilities. And some of these we saw the last time you joined us, and we saw a couple new ones today. So maybe we'll find even more cool tidbits to show you next time. And just want to once again just point out that we are offering a free trial of the 3D Experience Works portfolio specifically for 3D Creator and 3D Sculptor, though you will be able to try out some of the tools that you saw Lisa and John use today. And thank you everybody for joining us. We hope to see you at our next session of exploring 3D Experience Works live on Monday, July 13th. Until then, happy 4th, stay safe, and happy Monday.